Good morning and welcome to the Rewind. Hashtag 31. And as always, always a pleasure to be with you on a Thursday morning in our usual slot where it should be, 10 a.m. And I think we're almost bang on time, Mr. Peters. We're doing pretty good.
This is it. This is what having to get up at crack of dawn does to you, because I had to go to, with my other job this morning, I had to be into FedEx's depot at 6:30, 7 o'clock. So this is what it does to you, doesn't it?
No rest.
I won't say I'm bright and breezy. I'm ready for my bed again now.
You'll be having a snooze on that settee in the sports bar around about.
Well, you're not wrong.
O'clock.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Anyway, what kind of week you had?
Yeah, it's been quite busy, to be fair. You know what, with football and you know, the distribution business. On the 1st of February, which was Tuesday, on the distribution side of things, sort of the old concept within the operation where we work out of has all changed in terms of where we're getting our set runs now, where they're designated to you, and it's our responsibility. So there's no kind of passing responsibility on. It's sink or swim time, you know. And to be fair to the lads, you know, I've got to give them. I've been in this morning and I've seen the volumes that are coming out, and I've got to say to Martin Peters and Nick Fowles and Sam Millward, you know, Sam's not as experienced as Nick and Martin, but you know, it's not easy. Well, let me tell you, it's not easy. But you know, I've said it before. You know, Martin's kind of the George Best of the distribution, and Nick's not far behind. Nick hasn't got the same experience as Martin, but he's not far behind, and they're doing an excellent job. And I witnessed it this morning. So yeah, you know, we've been working towards that, and hopefully I'll be taking another member of staff on. In fact, watch this space. It might be I'm hoping it's a Bacup Borough player.
Excellent.
You know, young, athletic.
Yeah.
Spring chicken.
Keen as mustard.
But I've just got to convince me insurance, because he's under the kind of parapet that we're insured for. But I'm hoping that, you know, the powers that be will let him come on board. So hopefully watch this space. And on the football side, yeah, we trained on Tuesday at Darwen, where we're playing on Saturday. Lads were in good spirits and trained hard. I mean, it weren't an ideal time. It was a late one, but nevertheless, it was a good one.
But going off last Saturday, you know, the guys should be in good spirits, because it wasn't just the performance on Saturday against Golcar. We've seen that week in, week out. We know what the guys can do. It was a difficult surface, but they still managed to knock the ball around and do it with a lot of precision and purpose when they did it.
Yeah, I think, you know, we were playing a team in Golcar that up to probably our game and the game they played on Tuesday night against Pilkington,
they'd only lost 4 games all season.
Yeah, well, it's still kind of the same, isn't it? I mean, they've had 2 draws since. They drew Wheels and they drew with Pilkington. But they're an excellent side, and they've got some experienced players in now, and they've been given. You know, again, you can give Golcar a lot of credit. They've given Bury a good run for the money. I mean, it goes without saying. You know, absolutely surmounting credit for Bury AFC, because again they still keep going. I thought they might have struggled against Atherton LR last week, and I thought they might have dropped some points, but they didn't. They played again in midweek, and that were another tough game. Was against, because when we played Ilkley, I thought Ilkley were quite tasty.
Yeah.
And they played Ilkley in midweek, and they've come through that one. So they're from down at Bury End there, it keeps rolling. It keeps rolling. And you've got to give them loads of credit because of where they are. We're into February and they're unbeaten, and that's absolutely fantastic. But Golcar have tried to give them a run for the money, So going into Saturday's game, it was obviously a massive game for us, and it was a game that which I pointed out in my talk before the game. It was a game we couldn't afford to lose. We had to get something out of the game. Anything, but we couldn't lose. I mean, obviously, if we won the game, it was the cherry on the cake. In the first half, I know we played, and like you just said, we got the passing and we played some excellent football, and it was a really, really difficult surface. Listen, I said it before. It's no good looking at the state of our pitch from the sidelines. You need to be on it. We had a discussion even before the game about where we warm up and whether teams should be on it warming up, because I know the pitch better than anybody. I'm on it every day. I know it's where it's good, where it's bad, and let's be honest, it wasn't the best. When you got on it on Saturday, it wasn't the best. There was areas and it was so much so that it was fit. Don't get me wrong, of course it was fit, but it wasn't the best. And their players recognised the fact they were bleating at the referee before when they arrived. I'm not saying the management were, because they weren't, but they were bleating at the referee. They'd have been happy to have. Game had been called off. They didn't want to play on it. They just did not fancy it. To the point that the referee pulled me before the game with their manager Ash, and basically he said, "Look," he said, "I'll be honest with you, I'm 50-50. I could go either way with it." And to be fair to, again, I've got to say, like the South Liverpool, a bit of common sense coming here. If he'd have lent towards, no, we don't fancy it, it would have got called off, I'm telling you, because that's what the referee were waiting for. But he didn't. He said, no, we're here, we'll give it a go, we'll get on with it, which is credit to him. And they did, obviously they did give it a go. Now, as the game started and unfolded, I honestly believe that their sort of whenever they had control of the situation in the first half, came from our not managing the pitch properly.
Yeah,
it wasn't their good play, and I'm not taking anything away from Golcar. It was literally, we didn't manage the pitch the way that they managed the pitch. I've got to say, at half time, I felt in that first 45 minutes they completely played that pitch kind of to perfection of what you should do on that pitch. Yes. And I felt that our lads didn't change the game. They still tried to play the way that we're familiarising everybody with football. And at times, because the pitch was like it was, especially in the centre of the park, we was trying to play and we were trying to do them little, 3-yard, 5-yard,
intricate passing.
And it wasn't rolling through. And because it wasn't rolling through, they were managing to get a foothold, and then they'd just like skip it away from where it were going and then knock it forward. Yeah. And so I felt that in the first 45 minutes, their chances or their control in the game came from us not managing the pitch like we should have done. Second half was a total different, because it was pointed out to him at half time, and we kind of did it. But there were too many times for my liking in the first 45 minutes where, we were trying the intricate passes and we kept giving the ball away. I mean, listen, Ryan did three back-to-back passes, short passes, what normally would have been absolutely on the money. But the 3 passes back to back went straight to their player, only because the ball wasn't running through. Yeah, and straight away they kind of intercepted it, which put us under a little bit of pressure. But it was the pitch that kind of played a part in how Golcar took the lead. Because we had a central midfield player, I think it was Callum Hewitt, if my memory serves me rightly, that's kind of slipped as he was trying to check and turn. He kind of lost his footing. And as he loses his footing, they kind of broke with the ball. And it got sprayed out, again, if my memory serves me rightly, to the left-hand side of the pitch. And then they played a ball in between Gareth Wager and Josh Waln for the lad who scored 30 goals this season.
Yeah, Flynn was the first one to react. He
reacted to it, and I think our lads were complaining that they felt that there was an offside involved in it. I wouldn't like to comment on that from the vantage point that I were at, but nevertheless, the lad made no mistake, and Harry did his best. But unfortunately, we went to go down on about 12 minutes, and that's the way it remained until half time, until the second half.
Well, it was, but you've got to give a lot of credit as well for those that were watching and those that were listening at home. Their goalkeeper, Harry Stead, was the man of the match. Was the man of the match. The heroics in that first 45 minutes to keep Lewis Burn out, not once but twice.
Fantastic.
Was amazing.
Yeah, he did brilliant. He did brilliant. He was definitely he was the man, definitely the man of the match. And I mean, listen, you know, their supporters, because of what happened at the end, right at the end, what happened right at the end is the talk will be, oh, we should have won. That's what they'll be saying. We should have won. They only should have won because they had a penalty in the last kick of the game. And normally you would say that you're going to score penalties, but normally you wouldn't come up against Harry Turner.
Yeah.
Right. So my point is, on balance of play, they shouldn't have won. We were by far the better team.
Yeah, because what happened previous to that was certainly in our favour.
Yeah, exactly. And their keeper was the one, like you've rightly said, their keeper was the one that was separating the two sides, basically.
It was on fire. It was on fire.
He was quality on the day. You know, but yeah, you know, I thought the lads were overall. I thought the lads were outstanding on a really, really, really difficult surface. That, you know, it was an exciting game. You know, we played some really, really good football on a difficult surface. Once we got a grip and, you know, and didn't, you know, cut out that little intricacy. And I'm pleased. And for me, it was a point gained. I mean, because what it's done, it's twofold. Because what it did, it pegged them back, and for me, it was a point gained. It was a massive, important point. And if you look at any games in any level of football, when you're talking about two top of the league sides, you know, I mean, let's be honest, that was fourth playing second. Let's be honest, how many times do you get it? You do get it, but how many times, in all fairness, it usually ends up all square, the games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you analyse it, on average, there's more probably drawn games in them situations than what there is where the advantage goes to one or the other team.
Yeah. I think what I took from it more than anything, Brent, was the fact that we're up against the top side. You know, Golcar have been proven all season. There's a lot of pressure. There's a big crowd. But our lads were more than stood up to the test and showed the quality, which we all know they've got.
Listen, people have a lot of short memories, but I'll keep reminding them. If this team play the way within the team shape that we've drilled into them for probably the past 2.5 seasons, I keep saying it, we've got an identity, we have a way of playing. Everybody, you know, people are saying to, you know, people who haven't seen me for a while and come to watch us and watch the games, and they're turning around and coming out with statements like, I've never known Brent to be so chilled on the sideline. Well, the simple fact is, that being so chilled on the sideline is because these lads have adapted to the way that we want them to play. They've taken everything on board, and they've made me chill because I don't. There's nothing to explain if you're making a substitution. For instance, you haven't got to say anything you're making a substitute. The guy that's going on in a certain position, he knows exactly the roles and responsibility in that position. Each and every player knows it, both in and out of possession. Yes, from time to time, what can happen is an odd player can just kind of relax his mind and not do it on the we have to forget about it's only just short of 3 weeks ago the whole team turned in an horrible performance at Ashton, but it was an horrible performance because they didn't adapt to the way that we set us up to play, and we went through that on an earlier show. I explained why. When they play the way and execute the roles like they should do out of possession, it makes it difficult for the opposition, no matter who they've got in the side, no matter how much quality they've got in the side. It makes it so much difficult. And the fact of the matter is, when we gain back possession, we break at such a vengeance because we've got the players to do that. And we break at such pace and power, and we switch play like we switch play, and we've got players that can execute that 30-40 yard pass to switch play at opposite side and really drag teams about. And we've also, which is good, although I've said it before that Kyle Siddall and Alex Mellor and Anthony Hall need to step up to the plate more in scoring more goals and being more clinical, because the goal scoring ratio isn't where we would like it to be. They're contributing massively, but the goal scoring ratio isn't where we'd like it to be, and we're relying upon the likes of Toby, but Toby's not obviously not fit. Although the good news from Toby's point of view and our point of view is that this month he will be back in training. He's now stepping things up, which is good news. But we've had to bring in. I'm not saying we've had to bring in, but Lewis has been injured, and I was hoping to keep Lewis because he's our ace up our sleeve when he come back from injury on the sidelines, because the lads were doing the business and obviously just bringing him on from the bench. But unfortunately, as we're seeing in the results, we wasn't being clinical. We were creating lots of chances but not being clinical. And like I've said before, and it's so unfortunately, because you've got a clinical and natural finisher that's there on the bench and he's natural, and your other natural finishers kind of out injured, it's a no-brainer. He has to come into the team because we're not scoring enough goals.
You feel impelled to play him. You're looking at him, you're thinking, hold on a minute, I've got a guy who's a goal machine. I need to get him up pitch.
Correct. And the unfortunate thing is, between Kyle, Alex, and Antall, one of them had to step down to allow Lewis to come in. Yeah. Now, it was a difficult decision, and I said it to you before on the show. It was because
horrible.
I love I love them all. They're all contributing like they should contribute.
Yeah.
And the difficult part was, where do I go? What do I have to look at? So the only thing I could do was look at the stats. And the stats was that close. They were really close, but Kyle edged it at the time, and Alex had to sit out because he can't. If it had been the other way about, where Alex would have edged it, Kyle would have been sat out. Yeah. And that's the way I looked at it. But it was only to allow to get Lewis in. Now Lewis knows that he's got to deliver, and to be fair to him, he was the one that got us the goal on Saturday. He's delivering. It might be only an odd one, but but for their goalkeeper, I think he'd have had another couple.
Yeah.
So the simple fact is, where we're at is that the group as a group, they're excellent, and playing again. When I say people have short memories, our pre-season program, we played some top clubs with strong sides against us, which we wanted to do to test them. They got all right. They rode the luck a little bit against FC United in the first half in the friendly, but in the second, but we to play an hour and a half football against the top side like FC United,
that's going to happen. Yeah,
yeah, you know what I'm saying. But they held their own. They more than held their own. Yeah. And and we went down to Atherton Collieries, another good side, with good players in it. We go down there, and we no disrespect, we give them we beat them.
That was a confident performance against.
Yeah, exactly. So and then you look at the situation. We went up to Brighouse Town, who are another strong side, and we sneak a 1-0 up there. So we've proved that these lads have proved that if they do it right, both in and out of possession, they'll come up against the best, like we just said, and they'll compete with the best. The disappointment for me, and it is a little bit of a disappointment, but the young lads, and we're a young side, and we've made naive mistakes along the way. But I look at the situation with Bury, and I'm giving them lots of credit, but I'm thinking, when I look at the Bury team and I look at the way that we played against Bury, and we asked more questions of them than they asked of us, from the start of the season, and I'm just like, if I have to be a little bit down and a little bit disappointed, it's because we've not, after the Bury game, we've dropped some silly points against teams that we should never have dropped points against. Whereas the likes of Bury, I'm giving them credit, they haven't. They might not have performed against us, but and they might not have performed against other teams, but they're grinding results out. They're still going.
I was just going to say that, Brent. I was going to use the word grinded because that comes down to the experience that they have in their camp.
I agree. That's where it is. I mean, if we were to go back,
it's not ability. It's just game management.
It's in there. Don't forget when we played Bury as well. We played long period. We only 10 men.
35 minutes with 10 men.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're incredible. These lads, they're absolutely fantastic. But when we sit back and analyze, and I think they'll be agreeing with me. We've dropped some needless, silly, and when you break it down, how or why we've dropped those points.
Yeah, we've done it to ourselves.
Yeah, 100%. That's it. We've done it.
I just want to mention before. How can you forget the minute silence on Saturday that turned into a rapturous applause for Mark Lord. It were quite emotional.
It really was. And again, it really was. It was, it was from everybody's point of view. From people who come to support Mark. Our players. I thought our players, led by the captain Michael Gervin, did an absolute fantastic job. I mean, on the Thursday at training, we trained at Crowwood in Burnley. That was another late one. And Michael had some ideas, and he and I kind of liked his ideas. So I drove back from Burnley while they were training and grabbed one of our first team shirts because we had spare, for blood shirts and that. So I drove back to the club and grabbed one of our first team shirts and give it Michael, and then he took it away. So he'd only got Friday to do what he did, but he did absolutely fantastic because it's knocking about here somewhere. But he got a picture of Mark on the front of it, and then with rest in peace, Mark. And he did brilliant. He went, and that that were from the lads, and then we had all the balloons that we got, for them to let go in the minute silence. And as a club, we put flowers on the stanchions in front of the main stand in remembrance to him. And like you say, the minute silence that turned out to be a minute's applause, was so poignant, and it was brilliant, and it was fantastic. And whilst we're on that, it's a week today, I think it is, that it's his funeral at. I hope I'm right in this. I think we'll be putting it on the website anyway, the funeral arrangements. But I'm sure it's at Burnley Crematorium in the afternoon. Might be about 1:30. But we'll put all the details on the website, and obviously Ayles's Bacup Borough Football Club will be represented. But it was a fitting send off.
Yeah. Let's look towards Saturday, because the games are coming around pretty quick now. I know we've got some cup games coming up. We've got Macron and we've got the League Cup, but we're focused on the league on Saturday. AFC Darwen should be another. Well, they're all tricky games, and one we're looking to get points in.
Well, I think it's like our trusted friend, your counterpart at Darwen, has been putting out there. It's a tale of both ends of the pitch, isn't it? Darwen, unfortunately, this season are languishing down there near the bottom end of the table, and we're obviously fighting to get in a playoff position. So that on its own just makes it a tough, a really, really tough. It doesn't matter where you are in the league. They're fighting for their lives, and we're fighting to try and achieve a promotion place, through the playoffs. So on that front, that makes it a tasty kind of encounter. But I've never known anything different at Darwen. I've never known anything different against Darwen. The manager, Kenny Langford, he's a great guy, and he's a kind of a lot like me. He's a winner. He wants to win, and he I'll tell you now, he does, it could be a physical encounter, because look, when I talk about physical, I don't mean dirty. I mean aggressive, strong, physical challenges like football is about. But it's up to our lads not to let them get near. In an ideal world, but it's not. For some reason, let me say this: playing on a 3G surface and the way we play football should suit Bacup Borough, this current set of players, down to the ground. It's made for them. Instead of playing on this blinking heavy pitch, right, every week, they're now going onto a surface that what should absolutely suit our play. Now, if they play like they can play, like they should play, and play on the pitch, which will be true because of the surface that it is, when apart from the bounce, obviously, they shouldn't even get near us to be aggressive against us, in my opinion. They shouldn't get near us. If we move that ball like we can move that ball, if we play with the pace and power that we can play with, right, then no team, if they're physical, whatever, should be getting anywhere near us to be physical. If we dwell on the ball, then you're asking for a team for trouble, because you're going to get smacked. Simple. So our lads know that already. They know that if they move that ball and play with a pace and power that epitomizes our game, then, in my opinion, they shouldn't get anywhere near us. But let me tell you, St. Helens away, we never performed.
No.
3G pitch. Pilkington away, we never performed.
Correct.
3G pitch.
Yeah.
So every time we've took to a 3G pitch, and to be honest, Ilkley away, we didn't perform.
No.
So these guys always want for a good performance on
a you do. You always won.
You follow me?
Yeah, I follow you all right. They've been horrible on 3G pitches.
But it shouldn't be, because it suits them down to the ground.
Exactly. So what is it? What's the problem?
I think it's a mental problem. I think without being disrespectful to the teams that we've named there, I think when we turned up against St. Helens, I think they thought it was just a case of turning up and we'd win.
Yeah.
I think that was a mental problem, right? I think when we turned up against Pilkington, to give Pilkington a bit of credit, Pilkington from the they just did not let us give us any respite or anything.
Yeah.
So, and in terms of Ilkley, I kind of think that was the same with Ilkley. But Ilkley play football. Ilkley are a good side, I think. Ilkley are a very good side. So, listen, we've trained a few times now on Darwen. We've gone over there and trained. It's a beautiful facility. It's remarkable, the clubhouse and everything.
It's fantastic.
It's great. It's great, and it's just unfortunate that the languishing. But speaking to Kenny a couple of weeks back, he said to me that he's just had bad luck with injuries all season. Missing key players. So. That happens. It's football. It's like we've said before. If you're not carrying big squads, then your best players go. Then you've got a problem.
You have.
Now, hopefully, Kenny, I don't mean this in a bad way. I hope you're still struggling with injuries, and you haven't got your best players available. Listen, it's always a tough game against Darwen, and it'll be no different on Saturday.
It will. I want to touch upon some of that you were picking up on social media. I wanted to mention it because it's managers. Frank Lampard moving to Everton. I know you made some comments on social media, and I suppose it's good for the game that English or British managers are being recognised.
Well, are they? I mean, yeah, I've got every, I've got to give loads of credit to Everton for making that decision for Frank Lampard, because I really do think I thought he got a short straw at Chelsea. I thought he was doing all right at Chelsea. Right.
Well, he did. When you look at the players that he brought through, the young kids who we were bringing through, it was horrible that he got the push.
Yeah, and I feel that, especially in the Premier League, if you look at the Premier League, they're always going for foreign. In the majority, in the main, they're going for foreign coaches, foreign managers, and I don't think it's healthy, me. You know what I mean? And then they come over here and just watch all the Liverpool supporters shoot me down now. But they come over here and they try and rip our cup. They try and change everything. What's good about our cup? We're playing too many games. We shouldn't be doing this. We should be doing that. We should have a break. If you don't like what we do in our country, then I'm sorry. Go and stay in your own country and let the British coaches that spend thousands of pounds on getting the coaching qualifications that want a break in football, then let them get the jobs. That's what I say, right? If you want to come here and coach at Liverpool Football Club, Manchester United or wherever, then fine. But don't start bleating that you're playing too many games. You know what and you should have and there should be a break. You know what the English culture is about. You know what it's always been about. Nothing's changed. So you don't try to change it.
Yeah, you know what Christmas is. It's going to be a avalanche of 4 or 5 games in 2 weeks.
Correct. And it's always been like that. So, but then they come in and they have all these meetings, these managers' meetings, and because they're all sticking together, they all stick together. It's a bit more powerful. So they're trying to change. They're trying to change the what's been there for a lifetime, Neil.
And then it puts pressure on the league to bow to them.
Correct. But the fact is, if you want a position at one of the top clubs in this country, right, and you're coming from overseas, then surely you do your due diligence. You know what you're up against. You know that you're going to be playing so many games over Christmas, so many games over Easter. You know that you're going to be full throttle. It's a full-on situation. Why try and degrade the FA Cup? You know, that's been a absolutely stalwart competition in this country for years, right? And you know, the clubs have fancied that. Why try and change everything? You know, if you don't like it, then don't come and take these positions, is what I say. Now, on the flip side to that, Everton, in my opinion, have done absolutely fantastic in the appointment of because they could have easily gone overseas. And they've gone for, in my opinion, a top coach, manager in Frank Lampard, right? And away from Frank Lampard, you've got another one that's going to be coming through, and I hope he does. He's managing under such difficult, absolutely horrendous circumstances. Is Wayne Rooney at Derby County? You know, absolutely horrendous circumstances that he's. And whether it's true or not, but I would say it's true that obviously Everton spoke to his agent and he stayed loyal to Derby County at this point and said, look, I have a job to do at Derby. Now, if he succeeds at Derby and keeps them up, right, he's got to be another fancied manager. You know, he's been brought up he's played under Sir Alex Ferguson for all them years. So, you know, and top coaches that have been at Man United over time, you know, like Ronnie Mullenstein and all them. You know, so he's got a lot to offer to the game. So surely that he's another one that needs to be recognised. You know, you've got Graham Potter at Brighton. I think he's a top coach, top. Obviously, he's at Brighton, so he's English. But there is some good English, British coaches out there. And the people, what you don't realise, these people invest into the pathway in football and invest into the coaching licenses all the way through, and it is not cheap. It is not cheap, right? But for what you've got these licenses, but for what? It's not going to guarantee you or get you into the jobs that you want, because the jobs that you want or they want go to the foreigners. Yeah.
Well, I just look at Watford. You know, what a laughing stock they have become over the last 7 years, because I was reading something since Sean Dyche was released of his duties and took the Burnley job. I think they've had over 10 managers in that space of time. And of course, recently, Ranieri's even been given the chop. What's that all about?
Well, that comes from the owners, don't it? And I mean, they've got foreign owners, and I just think that they think that they're going to be guaranteed success. Whilst we're on that subject, I mean, I'm just going to flip it over here now about Watford. What about Blackburn Rovers then? This is on the flip side, because we're dogging the owners there at Watford, having a go about the owners at Watford, right? Because they're foreign owners that you know, and they've got these managers in, and they're here today, gone tomorrow, and keep swapping and changing, like you've said. You look at Blackburn Rovers, foreign owners, they've took a lot of stick of the Venkis over time, they have. Right? A lot of stick. But you know what? They've stuck with a manager, and now they're on the peripheral of going back.
Yeah.
You know, are coming up, getting promoted.
And I must admit, I was one of them, well, not supporter, but one of them football guys who were like saying, you know, Mowbray's finished. And I suppose a lot were. But as you rightly say, the Venkis need a lot of credit, because they've stuck with their man through thick and thin, and they are on the verge of going back to the Premier League.
Well, that's right. So let's look at it this way. So the Venkis are stuck with Mowbray, and he's doing an excellent job. Now he's pulled it round, or you know, and the circumstances why there's always circumstances why a club struggles or a team struggles. John Coleman and Jimmy Bell at Accrington Stanley, been there a long time, stood by him, doing a good job, right? Yeah. So the clubs that where there's longevity, eventually they do a good job. Sean Dyche, Burnley, longevity, doing a good job. All right, people might turn around now and say, well, doom and gloom. It looks like we're doom and down and that. It's never over until the fat lady sings. Let me tell you.
He's doing the best he can with the resources he's got.
Correct. Stand by your man, as Tammy Wynette said.
What a shame I've not got that song to play now. But no, like you say, the longevity and keeping the managers, through them difficult times does pay dividends in the end, most often than not.
Well, I think so. Without a doubt, I think so. Too many people think that, you should be guaranteed success. You only have to, I'm sorry, Gary, if you're listening, Gary Neville, but, I'm bleating back to Salford now. I mean, it looks like he's suddenly smelt the coffee. And he's sticking to it, the man he's got now. But let's be honest, it was just embarrassing what was going on down at Salford. Embarrassing.
Graham Alexander should have never have been given the sack.
Never. It was embarrassing. But they think that because they got the biggest, we've got the biggest wage bill in the league, we should be doing this, we should be doing that. That guarantees you nothing.
No. Well, Fergie didn't win anything for a long time, did he?
No.
Absolute pleasure, as always. Anything more to add?
Just throw one in that on the football side, our under-21s, under the guidance of Andy Pilling on Sunday, they got their. They don't not often win matches this season, or they haven't done because it's been. Look, the under-21s playing on a Sunday is never easy, And I've got to give Andy Pilling a little bit, quite a bit of credit because to get a side together on a Sunday when some of these lads you've got no control of them, they've played on the Saturday for somebody else, and then they're picking injuries up or they're feeling tired and then they're dropping out on Sunday, so he gets a short straw. But you know what, he took a reasonable side out down to Chester on Sunday and they got a 3-2 win, so I'm pleased about that. I'm pleased for Andy there, and I'm pleased they got the 3-2 win. And tonight I haven't managed, it's like 50-50, so you'll have to check later if the game's on. But tonight our under-23s under the guidance of Gary Ayres are due to play Macclesfield on Bake Up here, so and that's a 7:45 kickoff. But watch this space, it's kind of in the balance at the minute, as we've just talked about the pitch.
I'll put all the details on the social media. I wanted to mention one thing. You just brought something to my attention, and who's this bonny chap at the side of that fat thing called me?
Well, from what I can gather, let me tell you something. Yeah, we've got a little bit of an announcement to make, because that little chap with that hat on, or is it a tea cozy?
It looks like one of the flumps.
But is there? But no, listen. He's your partner in crime on match day, where he does an absolute fantastic job on co-commentating, and he's kind of. We've got a situation here a bit, and you know what I'm like. I kind of weigh people up before I make any. You don't suffer fools, Mr. Peters, do you? No, I don't suffer fools, and I take a judgment and people, and I watch them from a distance, and I'm pleased to say that a situation has arisen at this football club where we felt that we needed somebody to come in and head the team on the business development side, and it was important that it was somebody that wasn't from Timbuktu or anywhere like that. It was somebody that was here in the right smack bang in the town, in the midst of everybody, and in the valley, where he or she could be contactable to the business fraternity, that they could, visit them, speak to them.
And takes a lot of pride in the town.
You're right. And also the schools as well, you know. And Andrew Knights, for me, ticks all those boxes.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased to say that he will be taking over the role, and he will head a team under him. But he will be heading the business development side of things at this football club, and I'm really privileged and proud to have him on board, because you know I've always said in the past about the business development side. It is the most important role of any football club.
Definitely.
The manager's role is not, as you know, the manager can't do what he needs to do without that being successful.
Yeah. And say from my point of view, as the media officer, I can only do if the commercial arm is working effectively.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? You know, it does have its downsides. You know already.
Go on, what's that?
You know, like when you probably know this. Like when your missus is saying to you, and she says, "Right, we're going shopping tomorrow. We'll go to Trafford Centre. I need a new coat." Well, he's called me into. I bought him. I had to buy him a new coat straight away. He wants a new coat with everything on it. So you know what I mean. He wants to look the part, but hey, listen, I'm only joking. Knights, if you're watching, I am only joking.
Yeah. Andrew Knights, aka Diva. Has he got his own dressing room? And
listen, he'll need it, because it'll be a coat for every event, won't it? When he's got media, he has to put that one. Put the media one on.
And I believe he wants. He's requesting a photo shoot, isn't he, as well?
Yeah, he wants a photo shoot. Yeah,
I'm a private dancer.
So what more can I say? Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. But Knights, welcome on board, mate.
Yeah, top man. Please
see you later, Brent.
See you, pal.
Later.
Bye.